Hey everybody, the Kings 48 minutes of basketball away from the All-Star break and a chance tonight to go to 3 games over 500 against a team that is just a joke. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Zion Williamson will not play because, you know what, he can't play back-to-backs. You know, you just can't do it. He can't play 30 minutes a game. You just can't do it. So if you want to go to the game tonight, you can get in for $1.75 to go watch the Kings and the Pelicans. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. The Pelicans would hope if you do spend $1.75 on the secondary market that you would go buy one of their smoothies at Smoothie King Arena, maybe buy a hot dog, maybe buy a soda, a beer, so they could at least make a little bit of money for the game. But seriously, it's an embarrassment. But the Kings should win this game tonight, and I really mean this, by 30 or more points. They really should. Gentlemen, on that note, how the hell are you?
Well, I was feeling pretty good. Now I'm a little depressed.
It's just amazing. You got Joel Embiid in Philly, can't play back. You don't know when he's going to play. If you are a fan of the Pelicans, the only reason to go watch your team play is so you can see one of the real freaks of the league when he does play, Zion Williamson. And I say freak in a good term. But you never know when he's going to play, and he's not going to play on back-to-backs. He doesn't play some other nights. It's a joke. It's just prime example A of what's wrong with the league.
Well, it really is. I mean, there's no doubt it really hurts the league because basically, it's a star-driven league, and Davis, to his credit, was so smart. He was the first one to really make sure it was about the stars. Promote the stars over teams even. And really created, a whole new approach to the league and made it extremely popular. And now, of course, we still do the same thing, promote the stars more than the teams, but they don't play so much. And I mean, in other words, there's an exception to that. I mean, the Jokers and the Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders, but too many of the top guys, you just can't count on seeing them.
So I mean this with all seriousness. Is there any hope for basketball in New Orleans? Is there any rehabbing it, Jerry Grant?
I don't think so, and I've been saying this for years, and I think Jerry has as well. I don't understand why they have an NBA franchise, especially when you have a city like Seattle that is licking their chops, ready with an NBA state-of-the-art arena. I don't understand why the Pelicans still are in New Orleans. I really don't.
No, it's a terribly small market. It's a poor city, and obviously the owner of the team, Gail Benson, who inherited from her husband. I mean, he's worth billions, and mostly it's just because she's got the football team in effect, and that's about the only thing I can come up with. But they'd be so much better served to be in Seattle, for instance, on every level, and at some point I think they'll have to come up with something because as Grant knows, I mean, they've had some pretty good teams down there. And they'll announce 12,000 and there can't be 5,000 in the building.
No.
And it's like you said about the $1.75 ticket. It's like, yeah. And actually and all their concessions are cheap too. I mean,
very cheap
relatively to the NBA. So it just doesn't work there.
So are we saying there's a place that is a worse free agent destination than Sacramento?
Well, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I mean, here again, that's the national media narrative. But I mean, if you go back through the years, and I've said this, I mean, probably 95% of players have loved playing here,
right?
Because of the fans and the atmosphere and the loyalty and all that. I mean, I really mean that. It's that's been one of those things. Welcome to basketball hell. Bobby Hansen said that years ago, and Spud Webb gets blamed for it. But Bobby said it, and of course he was probably 3 sheets to the wind when he did, because he was 3 sheets to the wind most of the time.
That's right, very true. He was. Yes, he was.
So yeah, that's just not true. I mean, this is a great place to play. Now, you certainly as a free agent, if you can get more money and go to a bigger market, well, sure, you'd do that.
Jerry, when I heard that Marquel Fultz was coming to Sacramento, my reaction was, but why not? It's a no-risk move. If he works out, great. If he doesn't work out, no big deal.
No, I agree totally. I mean, the the last year that he played in Orlando when he was healthy, he's pretty good. I mean, not like where he's drafted or anything like that, but he was a pretty good starting point guard. Then he had more injuries, and of course, really don't know just what level of Marquel Fultz will get. But all I know is I one of those people that's watched him a few times in Orlando when probably he's playing at his best. And the guy can guard people, and he can make plays. Now he can't shoot a lick. I mean, from distance he just can't. But as a 10 or 15-minute backup guy, and that's what I would think he is, no more than that.
Yeah,
I think it's a great risk, and I think it gives them a team with so many guys who want to dribble and can't make plays or won't make plays. He could be a real value.
Yeah, Jerry, you said maybe 10, 15 minutes. How do you see him fitting into the rotation? Is there a certain combination you'd like to see him play with?
Well, that's a great question. I haven't really thought about it a lot. I mean, obviously, if he's going to back up Monk, then he's going to be playing primarily with LaVine and DeRozan and Sabonis. I mean, some of the main guys. Now, of course, my theory on any of that is get Keon Ellis on the floor as much as you can. I don't care because he can fit in with anybody.
Yeah,
but I think what it does, it makes your bench better. I mean, in other words, clearly getting Valanciunas was a get, and certainly if Keon's coming off the bench, he's terrific. So if Fultz is a more capable backup, your bench just got better. LaRavia, we're still kind of sorting him out, I think, and Trey Lyles. But now all of a sudden the Kings, to me, they've got a good bench. Not top of the league, but they were the worst. Now you'd probably say they got a chance to be middle of the pack in the league.
Zach LaVine still is really having a trouble from beyond the arc. Do you look at this, Jerry, as just a shooter who's going through a slump and don't worry about that? Do we need to look at a bigger picture with Zach not fitting in? What do you see as the issues with Zach LaVine right now, Jerry?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just an adjustment. I mean, playing with a totally different team. Certainly in Chicago, he had the green light, to do what he wanted. He's really trying to fit in. To his credit, he's trying to fit in with the team. Probably has turned down some good scoring opportunities, and then, of course, has taken some tough shots because when maybe he shouldn't. But I wouldn't worry about him. We talked about it before, but he's a marvelous talent. I mean, I think this All-Star break can't come soon enough. I think Coach Christie, they've got to kind of sort out some things, I think, to get a little more structure to the offense, to get away from all the dribbling, hunting shots and helping guys get shots, like even LaVine. I'd said, and we talked about before, I think one of the weaknesses I've seen with him is he's created about 2 fouls a game for Sabonis by moving too quick before he gets the screen set.
Yeah.
It makes it an illegal screen when it really isn't the screener's fault. He wants to set the screen. So it's a lot of little things, but his resume is legit. His resume is legit. I think he'll sort it out, but I think a lot of it's just on him trying to be a good teammate.
Yeah, Zach's been a great playmaker for himself, and now he's trying to make plays for others, and I just don't necessarily think that's in his wheelhouse. Jerry, a lot of talk about the All-Star break and the Kings need practice. Spell it out for everybody. Realistically, what's this All-Star break going to look like for the team?
Well, there's only so much they can do. They only do the Players Association rules, so they can probably only have a couple of practices.
Right.
Two practices.
And so really when they come back from the break, usually it's just kind of getting the rust out. You're really so there's probably one really good practice. The truth of it is where you could really work hard on making some changes. I mean, I think they could, the first practice back, I'd be lucky if he wants to make some changes in the offense to walk through things. You're not going to do it at full speed, but just kind of put it in their minds, get some thinking about what minor changes they might be trying to make, and then the next day work on it. And that's really about it. It's it's a shame because the Player Association does control that, because it'd be a great opportunity to have 3 good practices, really, but you can't do it.
Yeah, and I said too, and Jerry, I'm doing that off the top of my head. I will look at that, and I'm also looking at the Kings' schedule. So after the game tonight, it's getaway. Everybody is gone, and then you have the All-Star game, and I believe that the first practice would be 3 days before the first game. So you'd have practice, then you have a shoot around the next morning, and then the game, I believe.
That's my understanding, unless it's changed recently.
Right.
They've got a good chunk of time off because they don't play again, I believe, till next Friday after
Correct.
tonight. Yeah.
So it is what it is. I mean, it's the same for every team. And then you're in for the stretch drive. I would agree with you. The Kings bench is significantly better than it was a few weeks ago. But I also look at the schedule that's upcoming, and it is brutal. So we'll see. You know what? And here's the other deal. The Kings are extremely fortunate right now, and let's hope that happens through tonight. They are 100% healthy. That's probably not going to be that way the rest of the year. So you got to factor that in as well. But they have a better bench now. They might be better able to withstand an injury. Just depends which individual would get hurt. But, they are one of the few teams in the league right now that's 100% healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. So many. I mean, Oklahoma City's been one of those who've been pretty healthy. They've had a couple of injuries here of late, but overall one big one. But that worries you. But the fact, like you pointed out, the bench. I think the Kings now, even if Domas went down with Valanciunas, that really makes a lot of difference because he's a legitimate guy that can play starter minutes and be productive. There's no doubt. So, we hope, now too, you hope that a Marquel Fultz, if something happened to Monk or Keon, you got another guy, that you can put in there and kind of hold the fort. And really, I think 2 weeks ago, it could have been disastrous.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Jerry, what do you see right now with the turnovers? We have seen that be a big issue over the last 6 games. The Kings are dead last in the NBA in assist to turnover ratio. How do they clean that up?
Well, that's something I've been thinking about too. Here again, I think the fact that there's such an open offense, it's basically take what the defense gives you, all that stuff. Well, it's almost given too much freedom to the guys, and certainly they're not comfortable with each other yet, knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, and so that leads to I don't know what if you'd call it trying to be too cute with the passes, taking things for granted, and just unforced turnovers. And to me, the more structure you put in your offense, that takes some of that possibility out to where a guy's going to come off of a screen here, or he's supposed to dive to the basket there. Well, right now, I'm pretty sure they don't know because you can watch the game and none of us knows.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of a other than probably the only thing you can really count on for sure is like when DeRozan gets the ball, he's going to back a guy down and get a shot and probably make it. But other than that, I'm not sure what for sure is going to happen out there.
But that's not just going to all of a sudden be a magic wand after 2 days of practice and it's going to get better. It's going to be an evolution, right? It's going to still take time. I don't want fans to think that, just because of the All-Star break and 2 practices, everything is going to be fixed. It is still going to take some time.
Yeah, maybe, and it's possible. I mean, I'm very optimistic that some of it can be fixed, but maybe it can't.
Yeah.
Because at some point, each guy probably to make it work better has to give up a little bit of their individuality. I mean, in other words, we're seeing guys almost first instinct is put the ball on the floor. Well, maybe your first instinct should be either if you've got an open shot, take it or move the ball. But that has to, like I said, we just don't know how that's all going to play out, or if the coach wants to maybe change the lineup, which I still think it would be something that might benefit the team. And of course, I know I'm going on here, but I was thinking this would be a perfect team, and I hope Coach Christie thinks about it. But to do, I think, the corner series like that Rick Adelman did, with his 2 bigs up on the elbow, And if you didn't even want to use two bigs, like with Valanciunas and Sabonis, you could do it the Pete Carroll offense, which is the same thing, only they had one guy up. And, you'd run your splits off the wings, off the two wings. And if it wasn't there, you could go to the other side, play screen roll with with like a Bibby or something like they used to do. But you'd have a lot of movement. You had to have movement because they didn't have the ball. And so if you wanted to get the ball, you either had to screen and cut to get it. And most of the offense flowed through those bigs. And I think that could create or eliminate some of the problems with the excessive dribbling and spacing.
Jerry, we had a caller last night on the post-game show that said maybe it's not the guys who are bad three-point shooters. Maybe it is strictly the system, because he named off 3, 4, 5 guys that have struggled significantly since the Beam Team year from beyond the arc. Do you think system plays into that? Do you just think it's part mental? What are you seeing?
Well, I think it's a big part of his system. I really do. I mean, good three-point shooters will make shots. I think what you see is you're seeing the Kings taking tougher three-point shots than the opposition. You see it every night. I don't need a statistics breakdown. I'm seeing it, where we're seeing our opposition get those feet planted corner threes, and some of our guys are shooting threes off the dribble or being contested. Well, yeah, that's going to impact your percentage. So there again, I think that some cleanup of the system itself would make getting guys better shots. I think one way to do it is go inside more, draw doubles, and for the kickouts, like we see so many teams do. We don't do it quite enough.
Kings and Pelicans tonight for the third time in a week. The second part of this program, Ryan will have basically the equivalent of the pregame show. Jerry joins us at halftime. And then we will have the post-game show. As we told you at the top, no Zion Williamson, because, you don't want to extend the guy. You can't have him play 28 minutes one night and 28 minutes the next night at age 24. Or, you can't do that. You're gonna kill these guys. So he won't play tonight. The Kings need to come in here tonight and completely dominate this game. And then one thing that I think needs to really improve with this team that I think has been a real problem is their first quarters. Their first quarters have been awful.
Yeah, especially defensively.
Yep.
Certainly we've seen some poor offensive outings too, but I think on a consistent basis, the defense has just been really soft about every first quarter. And then, on the good games, they'll score 35 to kind of stay with the opposition. But it's, you're always seeing 34, 38, 40-point first quarter.
Yep.
And that really does, just inexcusable, really.
A lot of inconsistency when it comes to digging in and helping a guy that's not on ball if somebody's driving the ball. Inconsistency when it comes to rotations. How much of that, Jerry, is communicating, and how much of that is game plan?
It's all the above, I think, and I think even probably guys being held a little more accountable should come into play as well, because you have a defensive scheme and a plan. And then if a couple guys break it, if they're not held accountable, don't be surprised if they don't do it again. And so it's a little bit of all of that. And I think it's, there's no doubt there's reasons why some of it happened for a while when you got new guys. But now it's past time.
Right.
Defense. Let's face it. When it comes down to it, defense is stay in front of your man. Now, you can scheme different things, but basically you start there.
Which I think the one thing that Fultz will be able to do better than his teammates, with maybe the exception of Keon Ellis, but I'm talking about guards, he's better in that area. He does keep the man in front of him for the most part. He's not going to be a guy that looks like a matador, watching the guy go by him all the time. So I do think that's an improvement for this team.
I agree with that. Now we don't know just where his conditioning is and things like that, but I know, when the last time he got to play consistent minutes before his latest injury, and he's supposed to be completely recovered, that he was a very good defender. could stay in front of guys and make the, he's not as good as Keon. I agree with you
Nope.
there, and I don't think he'll ever be. But so I'm just hoping he can get back to 90% of what he was the last time he played for Orlando.
Jerry, with Marquel Fultz here, and assuming that he sticks and there's no injuries, what do you think that should mean for Devin Carter the rest of the season?
Probably going to be playing a lot in Stockton, and I hope that's the case. He needs to play. He didn't have a summer league, he didn't have a training camp. It was really an impossible circumstance, I thought, for the guy. I thought he came in and under the circumstances did okay. Didn't do as much as you wanted, maybe. But if there's ever a case of a guy, if he can get 30 minutes, 35 minutes in Stockton for the Kings down there, that'll do really great. And maybe by end of the season, last 5-10 games, maybe see what improvements there, because
Okay.
you don't want to write him off by any stretch of the imagination here. I think the guy's a player, but clearly he's not quite ready for that 20-minute role that they need,
particularly on offense.
Yeah, I think that his defense. I think we all like that. He's a tough rebounder for a guard, physical kid. So you like all that, but offensively, just really his game hadn't translated to the NBA yet.
So if you're Devin Carter and you're going into this summer, what's the number one thing that you're having him work on?
I'd say probably making shots. He at a small guard has got to make threes. I mean, it's not my rule. It's the rule the way it is. And he's got to become a little better playmaker. I mean, he's not going to be able to be a shooting guard. He needs to be really carve out a niche as a point guard, legitimate, where he can make plays. And I think that's something we haven't seen enough of either. So and hopefully that's what's happening. That will happen down in Stockton.
I think in retrospect, they rushed him. And you can say, well, it was Carter's decision. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is he needed to be in Stockton longer. He wasn't ready, in my opinion, to make that move to the NBA with the role that was given him. And yeah, there were times when, Jerry, I know you were impressed and we said, oh, wow, but you look back at it, it was just too quick. Again, as you said, no summer league, no training camp, never played in the NBA before. What did he have? One game down in the G League?
One game, yeah.
Right? I mean, It's just not enough.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, absolutely. And looking back at it, I mean, I know why. It was desperation.
Yes, they were playing terrible.
Well, and it was also Memphis. His dad's on the coaching staff there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're exactly right.
But even there, Ryan, and I think that's something was nice, and they should have done. Because of that. I don't see anything wrong with a little of that, but that would have been a great time to send him back down for a 10-game stretch or 15-game stretch. But I also understand the other side. At that time, the bench was so bad and so thin, and so but it didn't serve the kid. It didn't serve his needs, and he should have been sent back down there to play because that's what he needed to do.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about tonight for a few moments. Third game in 4 nights, with the first game a rugged overtime. So, you guys, it's getaway day. Jerry, you've coached through getaway day. We've been broadcasters through getaway day. Sometimes the guys, their focus is somewhere else. You're going into a dead gym, all right? No energy in that building tonight. No energy at all, which, Jerry, we know we've lived through it. Sometimes it's just tough to get going. So the Kings, even though tonight should, and I say should be a cakewalk, there are still a few obstacles they have to get over.
Well, that is the key. Like you say, the getaway day stuff is whichever team comes out and decides we'll worry about getaway after the game. And because both teams are going through the same thing, they're thinking about the break, and so if the King can push that aside, then they'll have an easy win. And if they don't, it might get tough. But you just don't know for sure how it's going to handle certain guys. I think it really does. Usually you can look at the top of your lineup, the kind of guys you're counting on, and that usually will dictate it. That's why I'd be surprised because of Sabonis and Monk and some of those guys. They really do bring effort on a consistent basis.
Yep.
Whereas we've had teams, and we've seen them, where the top guys, on some of the weaker teams, well, that's why they're weaker teams. You didn't know if they're going to bring it every night.
With no Zion Williamson tonight and Sabonis coming off a game where he had no free throw attempts, this seems like a perfect opportunity to go double big at times, run some high-low, even if it's with Keegan Murray, and just pound the ball inside. New Orleans does not have a presence. They've got a young guy playing that fouled out last night. You've got Yves Missy, but he is what he is. You can get around him if you dominate him, get him to foul. I think, like you said, Jerry, inside out, get the ball to the key, spray it out, get things going that way.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see him really work with the two bigs together, defensively as well as offensively. And I think certainly with Valanciunas really does protect the basket much better. And certainly in his zone, I think really Sabonis would cover the wings as well as Trey Lyles or anybody else, not named Keegan. So, you have that. So it'd be a good, I think it's something we'll see. And I think we should see that type of lineup. And then it kind of protects, gives your weaker defenders, quite honestly, LaVine and DeRozan, a little more protection.
I could see this Pelicans team not scoring 100 tonight. I really could. The question is, the energy of the Kings, as we just talked about. But I will tell you, and every time I say this, I normally have to regret it on the post-game show. I don't think this should be within 20 points tonight, and I think 30. But because of 3 games in 4 nights and getaway day, I think the Kings will win this game by 20 or more points, guys. I really feel that way.
I think they'll have control of it. I don't know what the margin is. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Alvarado. I mean, his ability to penetrate on a consistent basis really can keep the game within range. And the Kings really need to focus on getting the ball out of that little wild dude's hands because he makes a lot of good things happen. And, he's been having his way with the Kings, really. But just stop his penetration, and I think you'll have a nice game.
Well, if we've seen the Kings and Keon Ellis and other guys face guard Steph Curry before, and we've seen them face guard better players in the league, there's no reason you can't deny the ball a little bit there. And there's small adjustments, just like ball pressure when somebody's entering a pass somewhere. Last night, there's 2-3 feet in between. I mean, Haunted Horse could have made a pass last night to Zion if he wanted to. So little things like that, Jer, I think make a big difference, especially with a team that they've lost double-digit games in a row, going into the break, heads down, empty building. And then on the flip end, it sends you back in with more momentum as this Kings team. We can only build from here with a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on it. I mean, certainly wins are wins, and they go up in the standings. And after a while, you don't really remember who exactly it was, but to go into the break with a winning streak, you come out of it feeling better about yourself. But your point on defense is exactly right. It's like last night's game. Guard wing passes should not be easy.
No,
especially to guys who aren't about to back cut.
Great point.
Murphy or Zion Williamson. The last time they did a back cut was never. They're looking to get the ball. They'll go away from the basket 10 feet to get the ball, but they're not going to back cut. So you can overplay with no risk. And we didn't see any of that. And that's the kind of thing we need to see more of.
2,500 is my over-under on the attendance tonight, guys, and I'm leaning towards the actual under.
But it's
I would like to see an accurate head count, would you? I mean, of course you could do it. You could have
Jerry, we were there at times where I swear there wasn't 3,000 people in the building.
Oh, I know there was. I mean, there were times we could have counted them. Yeah,
right.
So I had a caller earlier today who's going to the game tonight, and they're sitting 7 rows from the floor, $55 for both tickets.
Yeah.
$55.
Well, in my opinion, they overpaid.
Well,
yeah,
hey,
maybe.
Like I do. You tell your friends if they'd have waited and stood out front a while, they could have got those 2 for about $25.
Right.
Because somebody'd be selling them.
No No doubt.
They want my score prediction tonight. I will say Sacramento 128, New Orleans 96.
I'm going Sacto 124 to 105.
I'm going to say Sacramento 120. I'm going to say 122, New Orleans 101.
I don't think New Orleans will score 100 tonight.
Okay. I hope you're right.
Me
I'd
too.
be happy to be wrong.
Without Zion Williamson, Pelicans, their getaway day was about 3 months ago. And so they don't give a damn about this game tonight. They don't care. I think the key to this game is to start, because as we talked about, the Kings have had first quarters where they just play matador defense. I think if the Kings can have a good first quarter, they will run away and hide. That's if they can have a good first quarter.
Yeah, that's a key, no question, because that give them, show the Pelicans they're going to have to play hard all night, and you say, don't want to go for the break. So, yeah.
Rhino, what do you got coming up? Ryan, what do you got coming up for the rest of the show with what do you have for us here? Getting ready for a tip-off.
We will talk some more about Marquel Fultz. We'll talk about who's in, who's out. We'll get everybody's scores. So we've got a lot going. I would say this really quick, though. I want to chime in about the good start. They need to finish quarters, too. The Kings have not been good over the last few games at finishing quarters. That is just important to me, Jerry.
No, well, absolutely. That's the difference between winning and losing. I mean, that's always been true. Like in the fourth quarter, that's why some teams win more, because they're really good at finishing fourth quarters.
Yeah.
But the thing that the Kings have not been very good at, and people complain about the officials, but basically it's getting to the line. The Kings are really settling, really not forcing the issue to get to the line enough to get the team in the penalty. Because as you guys know, as Grant, we'd always talk about, when you're in that penalty with 6 minutes to go in the quarter, I mean, it almost means the other team can't go on long runs.
Yep.
That's a great point.
And the officials is not the problem. For the fans out there that continually harp on the officials, get a freaking life. Would you please stop it already? Are there times where they don't make the right call? Yes. Are there times when the game's not very well officiated? Yeah, that happens sometimes, but not like you think. It's just not like you think.
All right, gentlemen, we have one quick call. Baki, 2-3 minutes. What's up, bud?
Hey, hi. Very good evening for you, gentlemen.
Hello, Baki.
Hey, Baki.
Hey, hello, Jerry. Hello, Grant, Rhino.
What's up, dude?
I have a little question for you, a short one. My opinion is from the trade, when the trade happened to us and LaVine, we got LaVine in the squad. I think the other players like Keon and especially DeRozan are playing better right now. Never mind, we play New Orleans. They are, you said, Grant, I will say the same. They are a mess right now. So never mind, we are playing them, those two. But in overall, I think those two players are really playing great basketball. Sabonis as always. So my only question is, do you expect LaVine to rise like all the others? Because I think he's the part we are missing right now.
That's a great question. I'd say this. I agree with you. There's no doubt DeRozan and Keon are playing better. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. I think DeRozan, because with Fox gone, he knows he's the guy to go get key shots. There's no question about it. When there was always a little bit of a misdirection there between the two, because they're both so good scoring in the clutch. So that's opened up DeRozan. Now, as far as Keon, a part of the positives, he's on the floor more, and Herter's gone. So you don't have that issue. In other words, Keon's been pretty darn good every time he gets a lot of minutes. Now he's getting a lot of minutes. And so I think that explains that. Now, to LaVine, yeah, I think that'll sort itself out. But I think right now he's in Chicago this year. Certainly DeRozan was already gone. He was used to having the green light, being the guy that could dictate the offense. Well, that's not going to happen here. And so he's in a process of adjusting, and he will, and he'll become a lot more productive. He's not going to be.
Do you see that like a problem, Jerry?
It could be, but I don't think it will be. I think that these guys, I think LaVine, when I see, is trying to adjust. And it is an adjustment for him more than his teammates, just for what I said. So, and I think he really wants to be part of the team and to fit in. But it's a process of how do I do it, and I don't think he's really comfortable in that yet. So, I guess I'm being optimistic, but my feeling is that he wants to be part of the team and will try to figure out how he can be really good, just differently. Maybe not the 27-point a game good, but maybe a consistently 20-point a guy. And I think that'll happen.
Thank you, Baki.
Thanks, Baki.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Jerry, we'll talk to you again at halftime.
Yes, you will. And so, hopefully we got a good halftime to talk about.
I can't imagine it not, but we've been down this road before, unfortunately, but I can't imagine it tonight. But it seems like every time we say that, we're talking about what the hell happened. But
Some of the roads, some of the roads we go down turn into gravel every now and then.
Yeah. All right, Jerry, we'll see you in a little bit.
See you a little bit.
Rhino, appreciate you. Have a good, now we go to the pregame show.
We go to the pregame.
At intermission, buddy.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
What a fun show. Love having those two here. What's up, everybody? It's your show now. Take it over. We're getting you ready for the Kings and the Pels. By the way, to that last conversation that Jerry was talking about with Keon Ellis really fitting in, the Kings are 10-3 when Keon Ellis gets 28 or more minutes this season. How about that? So Marquel Fultz, he is available for the Kings. If you have not seen that, Zion Williamson, we talked about that. He is out tonight. So the Kings, full deck of cards. Question becomes, what will Markel's role be? How many minutes will he play? Only 2 games on the schedule tonight. Any questions? Get up in here. Let me know. You can call the show as well. I'll put the link back in the chat. Usually I have all my cool little tools with me, but I'm not in my studio, so that's okay. We can still make it work. We'll do some screen shares as well, get some of the information up for tonight. As I said, the Kings' last 6 games, a couple of things to worry about, a couple of things not so much to worry about. Assist to turnover ratio. That's one that Jerry mentioned. You got to be good with the basketball. Grant said you got to have a hot start. I'm with them there. The Kings are dead last over the last 6 games in assist to turnover ratio. But one surprising player that has been very good with that has been DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's assist to turnover ratio leads the team as we set. Test run for Fultz. We'll see. Furious, damn right, my man. You are what? You are, I want to say, 48 minutes away from a $500 gift card if the Kings don't win. What's up with that, man? Who are you going to take, Furious? PK is disqualified. PK, that $500, my man, that cannot go towards yourself. That is $500 to Wolf or the person of his choosing. Period. End of story. Donald, what's up, man? I think Dennis said yes, the Fultz was available tonight. Yes, Marquel Fultz is available. He was warming up on the court about an hour 15 minutes ago. The question is, what kind of shape is he in? He looked good physically. Looked like he was in decent shape. If you were expecting him to be a big scorer, then you need to readjust your expectations. He brings the ball damn near down to his shoestrings when he shoots it. What we need him for is defense and moving the ball around. Keon makes plays. He's been very good. What are you all thinking tonight? Do you think it's a big deal that the Kings are going to see them for the 3rd time in less than a week? Like to know that. Smart passing would be great. Very much so. Could not agree more with you there. Let's fire up some of our cool stuff. We'll go to our screen share really quick. Get you some information about this one going. Looking at Marquel Fultz, if you're not familiar with his body of work, here it is for you right here. He has been in the league since, he's been out this season, but he was drafted in 2017, has a decent amount of seasons where he has not played a large number of games, some in part to the knee, other in part to the shoulder, and some off the court issues. Nothing personal or problems with law, just some personal stuff, I should say, that he needed to get worked out. His most recent injury was an ACL surgery, which he came back from and played 43 games that season in Orlando. He had to stop playing towards the end of the regular season, do some rehab to get himself back for the playoff series, which he was able to participate in. And at times he looked explosive, but a lot of talk during that time when he was going through rehab that he had some small fractures in his knee that he was trying to get through, trying to make it through the end of the season. Well, bottom line is the guy's not played since last playoffs, first round. Orlando was bounced from there. So it's going to be a big question. What's he going to be? I think it helps this team tremendously at the point guard position. Just somebody that can literally distribute, somebody that can run pick and roll. You don't need him to score, somebody that can put pressure on defense. And defensively, I think he's a guy that can blow up some pick and rolls. He can move a little bit more. So at least the mental part is there for Marquel Fultz. But Jerry actually has his time a little bit higher than me. He said 10 to 15 minutes. I was thinking 7 to 10 minutes. I'm going to defer to Jerry. He's the expert there. Something funny, though. We were talking on the earlier show about this. He was drafted in the same draft class as Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox. We were going through and looking at that class, and we're like, I wonder who would be the top 5 if we redrafted. Who would it be? Some of us did not have Foxy in that top 5. Paul, a point guard who isn't a great shooter, could lead to better / more passing. No doubt. No doubt. That's the thing. Look, some people think there's not enough shots in this Sacramento offense. Might be a little bit right. Look at Keegan Murray, not getting a ton of run, not getting a ton of looks. You have to drop plays to get him involved. You don't have to worry about that with Marquel Fultz. Again, no expectation to get him shots, and he's actually pretty damn good on the break. He is good. I don't know what his explosion looks like right now because he's not played in the NBA this year, but he used to be decently explosive. So all good things there, especially for a low risk move that buys Devin Carter some time. A guard that can shoot, snakes the defense scheme easier for the other team. Got to think about it also. 10 to 12 minutes is G money. That's what they're going. Donovan. Oh yeah, that's right. We went through this. Shea wasn't in that draft, Cody. Shea was not in that draft. It was Tatum, Derek White, Josh Hart, Markkanen. We can go through it again. Who else was in there? Yes, Vazenkov. He was in there as well. Forgot Vazenkov. There you go. Keegan is passive. Just type of player he is. He tries to get himself involved in his own ways. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Looking at this last one, what killed the Kings right out of the gate? The Kings should have had a massive lead right out of the start of the game last night, but instead they did the same thing they did in Dallas, a ton of turnovers that resulted in points for the Pelicans. In fact, it was 8 turnovers resulting in 9 points for the Pelicans in the first quarter. So there's no doubt that Doug Christie's going to have that drawn up. In fact, Doug Christie talked last night about this one. Here's what Doug had to say.
Yeah. Listen, he is a special player, man. Like his ability to finish through contact, aerial, like high level, because some of those shots require English. Some of them are high off the glass. Some of them are below the glass, and it's just a quick finish. And you get fouled, and you go to the line. He does it from sets. He does it in transition. So when you look at that, it's more about, trying to allow him to get his, slow some other people down, and walk out of this building with a win. That's really what it's about. Like, you're not going to stop a talent like that, but you can slow them down. So 7 points less is a little bit of a slowdown.
Doug, have you guys had one practice even since, let's say, De'Aaron went out?
Yeah. No, but yes. Oxymoron. Like we're there and we're walking through things, but you got to understand that at this time of the year, there's not a lot of practice time. Not a lot of teams are practicing, but we're in the gym. We're going over things, we're correcting things, but we're doing it in a different fashion than running around the gym and using guys' legs up. That's not, I want them to be fresh. I want them to make shots. These guys are smart enough that we put them in positions, we show them, and now we talk about where I want to meet a guy when he rolls, what's happening on the backside, how am I Xing out, who has first pass, automatic, make sure you arrive on the catch. These are things that, and you see it a little more each time, and then it gets away from you sometimes. But, when you say the word practice, I would have to say, like, what exactly do you?
So it doesn't take away minutes from one player in particular, mixing in Marquel Fultz. What it does is it's going to redistribute minutes amongst the core, especially when Malik Monk goes to the bench so many times, and it's going to redistribute roles as well. When Monk is not in the game, it's Debo bringing the ball up. When he's not in the game, it's Zach LaVine. I don't think the preference is to have the ball in my hand, bringing it up if I'm Zach LaVine. In fact, if you want to point at anything that's probably made him a little uncomfortable so far in Sacramento, it's that. He's the guy that is getting the pass from Kobe White. He's the guy that's getting it on the swing, not so much initiating offense. So let Zach get it back to what he does best, which is cutting, which is slashing, backdoor, that kind of stuff. Set some down screens for him, and then you have the ball in Fultz's hand instead. And again, Fultz's court vision, pretty damn good. I don't have a big problem with that whatsoever. So you won't see a big change in the lineups. You probably just see some of the core guys, their minutes go down a little bit. I will say Keon Ellis, got to get him 28 or more. 28 or more. The Kings are 10-3 this season. Shout out to Will Z Stats for pulling that number.
Mean by practice. We're making sure that we're covering everything, but not in a put elbow pads and knee pads on and get after it. I'm saving that for the game. So, but they're on top of it.
And so with the new group and working new guys in and doing it largely on the fly, like, are you seeing little incremental steps where you guys are kind of figuring out how to do this together?
Yeah, I mean, even like a closing package of figuring out how to close the game, who has the ball, who's hot, who do we want to bring up? Like those things the guys are figuring out. Like I've told them about the spacing that I want, and we go over it in the huddle, but they're also figuring out on their own, because part of us taking another step is not looking at the bench to solve the problem. I don't need to micromanage you. You guys got game, and I want you to play your game, and I want you to figure it out, because in the higher level moments that's where we're headed. That's what's going to have to be required in those moments. It's not always a timeout, set it up. This is what I want. I want you guys to think about it. It's your team. It's our team. But do what's best for the team always.
One more question, Doug. With Zach, it seemed like he sort of let the game come to him.
Yeah.
Right? Is that something you guys talked about? Or did you see that as well?
Well, I want him to be super aggressive, but Zach is such a talent that he finds his way in the game. So, like, if he's not feeling aggressive,ness, it's from something that he sees. It's not from any, like, I'm putting him in a position, but to his credit, like, he's not forcing it. And I think, he played with DeMar, and DeMar and I and Leandro had conversations in the summertime about reading the game and understanding what's in front of you and showing them something, seeing what they do. Like, you're doing it like a boxer. I want to jab. I want to see how he responds to the jab. Then I set him up for an uppercut. Like, that's another level, and he's that type of talent. So with him working his way into the game, I have absolutely zero problem, because they're going to figure it out at a high level. There will be times when it's required, and I think he'll be fine.
We will see. I still think it is difficult to beat a team 3 times in a week. It's a little bit of a big ask, but if there's a team you can do it against, it's the Pelicans. And why not shove 4 back in their face like they put 6 in ours last year, that would be pretty nice. Not going to lie. So give me your final scores. Let me know who you think's going to take this one. Who is going to be the big winner tonight headed into the All-Star break in New Orleans? Again, the Kings are guaranteed to be 500 or over 500, regardless of the result tonight headed into the break. But it sure as heck would be nice to have 4 in a row under your belt. Tell you what, you are always winning when you get to Bennett's. Yes, 3 restaurants, 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area. Rockland, Roseville, Howe, and Fair Oaks. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. Yes, we all know PK, $500 on the line tonight to Furious Wolf. 1-800-GAMBLER, by the way, if you have a problem gambling. We had a great talk about gambling earlier today. But you are never gambling with a bad meal if you get to Bennett's, whether it is their New York prime steak, whether it is their redfish, whether it's the fried chicken and ribs. You cannot go wrong. They've got a little something for everybody. Happy hour, 2 to 6 p.m. every single day. Weekend brunch also. One of our family favorites, 11 to 2 on the weekends at all 3 locations. You can go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can check out all of their different offerings, specials, and you can put in your orders to go there now as well. You can make reservations, buy gift cards, all that good stuff, and keep telling us when you go in, and we will pass that along to Brian. We had a viewer go in and actually meet Brian. Brian hooked him up with 15% after he said that he heard about him here on the channel. So that's what type of guy Brian is. We love him and love Bennett. So make sure that you go show them some love. Thank you for always checking them out. That is bennettsrestaurants.com. All right, final scores, y'all. Which way we going? Which way we going? I think it's going to be closer than some people think, but what are you doing? Unless you have a problem. Yeah, Zion putting up a triple-double. Triple the meat, the sauce on a fat burger. Damn, dude, we're going in on Zion. I think the announcers are wearing a little thin on you. Mike Gundy didn't want any of that. Going in on Zion's weight and his food orders. Come on. Hausen, what's up? 110, 92, 119, 110. I got the King score right last night. I said 119, 114. It was 119, 111. Jerry got the 111 right for them. Let's see. 112, 101. I like it. Diz Gone Wild. All right. Well done. There you go. Good screen name. 110, 106. Paul says Kings. It sure as hell would be nice. Tristan, you always have to go backwards, dude.
That's terrible.
Always backwards. Pels 118, Kings 97. I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it is going to be bizarre for this team. Being back there second night, the fact that that building just has no energy. I'm happy that Mason Jones is on this trip to kind of pump that bench up, give him some energy, some big plays, some Keegan Murray dunks, stuff like that will go a long ways to pump some energy into the Kings. And like I said, this is a game that you have got to play through Sabonis down low. Go with some double big action tonight. No reason not to, especially with Zion Williamson out. Get Messi into some foul trouble. And then their rookie that played last night, he fouled out in limited minutes. Undersized big man. Get him in foul trouble too. What's up, dude? 127.95. You're going to Bennett's again for Valentine's Day. Look at you, BG. Love it, dude. Thank you very much. Pressure, Kings 114, 101. You guys know Grant's going to go nuts if he put the scores backwards. Just saying. I'm a little bit cooler about it. It's you know how he always talks about Scott Pollard, and if you do the 2 T's behind Scott doesn't like it. Grant does not like the scores backwards for whatever reason. 122, 113 Kings. Love it. Romanowski, 120, 108. We will see. Hey, don't forget, thanks for being here, by the way, for our roundtable. Those are always a lot of fun. Halftime, Jared's going to be right back here with us. We will be breaking down the first half, hopefully talking about some really good plays, talking about a healthy lead, not talking about any injuries, all the good stuff. And post game, we'll be taking your calls and kind of wrapping up the first 55 games of the season. Hard to believe. 55 games already into this season. Nuts. But again, I go back to the fact that the Kings even have a chance. Do y'all remember Charlie? Those that watch the show regularly, this voicemail came in late December. This was right before. It was Saturday, December 28th at 10:55 p.m. And I'm pretty sure 95% of the fan base was feeling just like Charlie, except he got kicked even more when he was down. I don't think enough of us remember that we didn't expect to have a reset button on this season. And guess what? We've kind of got it. If the Kings are 4 games over 500 after firing Mike Brown at the All-Star break, I think we all would have signed up for that the day that Mike Brown got fired. But check Charlie out.
Hey, my name's Charlie. I'm a huge Kings fan, and I just wanted to, discuss my frustrations about the past couple of days. Basically the season as a Kings fan, it's just been a disappointment, but mostly the past couple of days, and just my disappointment and just disgust in the owner of this franchise and the direction this franchise is heading. I frequently go to Kings games. I've been to a lot. I'm actually a college student, so my parents have been nice enough to kind of get me tickets to the games, so I've been able to go. And it's just been so unfortunate to see them. I mean, they lost 6 in a row now. And I'm just pretty disgusted with this team. I'm pretty close to, I love this team so much, so it's kind of basically, I feel like it's my last straw. And I'm obviously going to support this team, but it's just so hard right now. I'm glad I go to University of Oregon, so I'm glad I have the Ducks at least are in a college football playoff, but it's definitely unfortunate times. So yeah, bye-bye.
Poor guy. He got crushed the next day or 2 days later. Oregon got bounced by Ohio State. But look, we were all there. Look where we're at now. We're looking at 4 over 500. Excited for tonight. Remember, Jerry back with us at the half. Can't wait for that. Coach Christie, break us down.
That's big time shit. Together on 3, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Together.
We'll see you after the first 24 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. Give us a big thumbs up. Can't wait to be back with you here in about an hour with Jerry Reynolds.